はようございます。あ、テレビ屋さんおはよう。Good morning。なんだっけ ?How about you? 合ってる？ご機嫌いかが？よいしょ。私はね、直前まで本田さんと喋ってて、準備をしてなかったので、今準備をしています。待ってね、これで、翻訳ページを開いて、なくていいのか、そうだ。これでよくて、おはようおはようおはよう。で、今日はチャプター3からどこまでやろうか。3、4、5をやろうか、今日。ちょっと長いかもしれないけど。よいしょ。なんかね、鼻が今日すごくて、めっちゃくしゃみすんだよね。はあ、やっぱ寒くてさ、夜とかやばい。I'm fine, thank you, yay. あ、very good, thank you. 今何か言おうとして忘れた。何の話しようかなと思って。マジで頭起きてないからさ、話題が今全然出ないよね。なんかもうすぐさ、だって来週12月に入るってことでしょ？やばいね、もう早いね。あ、今日なんだっけ、競馬のさ、大間さんのなんか大きいやつがあるらしくて、そう様子だけ見ようかなと思ってる。なんかおすすめある？面白い馬出るのかな今回。名前のやつとか。この辺をね、全然調べてないおかげで何もわからないんですよ。よいしょ、レーシングカレンダーのジャパンカップ。景品祭？あれ違う。なんか出馬表とかないんかな。ドーデュースってこの間も出てたやつだよね。あ、天皇杯秋で勝ったやつか。ドルーブとかも強いんだ。1、2で勝ってんだね。なんか面白い名前の馬いないんかな。空手ってのがいい。なんかさ、この出馬表のやつにさ、見てんだけど、乗るかな。さ、服とかもさ、乗ってんだねって。わかりやすいようにしてんだ。ってなってる。ある程度決まってんだ。決まってるっていうか、これ来ますって提出とかしてんだろうね。という、ちょっと、大間さんを見てみましたけれども。それはそれとして今日は、なんもね、考えてないからやばい。 12月冬になるけどさ、もうすぐあれか、アドベントカレンダーとかってさ、みんなやったことあんの？なんかたまにさ、カルディとかでさ、見かけるけど、絶対途中で飽きんの忘れんだよなと思って。なんかね、やんないんだよね。一回ぐらい買ってみたい気持ちはあるんだけどね。あ、あおみさんおはようございます。久しぶりだね。久しぶりに見た。なんだっけ、アドベントカレンダー。私紅茶飲まないからさ、たまにある紅茶のアドベントカレンダーっていうやつがさ、Twitter で話題になるんだけど、なんかそういう別のやつ欲しいなと思って。あれだ、なんかさ、昔、フェリスだったかな、なんか万年筆のインクでさ、アドベントカレンダーあったらしくて、あんのかな、ちょっと今調べてくるわ。フェリスホイールプレスっていうさ、ラメが入ったりとか、めっちゃおしゃれな香水瓶みたいな万年筆のインクあって、フェリスホイールプレスアドベント、あ、なんかありそう。あ、ないわ。いやね、めちゃくちゃね、いろんな色があるし、私もなんかいくつか持ってんだけど、めっちゃ可愛いのよ、フェリスって。なんかね、見てほしい、マジで。こういうの。めっちゃ色も良くてさ、なんかね、めっちゃ可愛いんよね。で、ラメとか入ってて、すごい。あ、これなんかね、丸いちっちゃいやつとかあったりとか。これのね、アドベントカレンダー多分あったはずなんだけどね。あったっけな。何のやつだ？あ、違うやつか。ダイヤミン、知らないやつですね。違いました。フェリスじゃなかったです。でもいいな。こういうのなんかいいよね。今年やってんのかな ?22 年で。23年、24年の、あんのかなあー、する。するね。これですね。いやでも、さっき言ってたのより安い。品切れ。あ、そらそうか。でも、黒かっこいい。ガラスペンついてこないのか。いいな。いや、のしとかじゃなくて、中身何入ってるか教えてほしいんですけど。入ってないか。なんか最近ガラスペンとかも人気よね。なんか、セーラームーンとかさ、D グレーの、なんか原画展やってた時に、グッズも一緒に出すじゃんね。なんか、そういうのって。で、それの時に、結構さ、受注生産、数量限定でガラスペン何万とかで、そのモチーフのやつ出してたみたいで、なんかガラスペン最近人気だなと思って。なんだっけ。セーラー。おしゃれな箱。アドベントカレンダー箱おしゃれよね。お花の目でございます。あ、ぐっさんおはよう。万年筆。あれ万年筆じゃないって。これさ、そもそもセーラームーンにこのタイプの変身アイテムあるんよね。いいよね、これ。変身ペン。違うんだって。私が見たいのはガラスペンで調べてた。あ、これ。 すごいよね、これガラスで作るってさ。これめっちゃ欲しいもん。いいなぁ。なんか1本ぐらいはこういうの欲しいなって思うよね。リーグレのやつも欲しかったけどね。リーグレイマンさ、本田さんとか八木ちゃん知らないって言ってて、マジかってなった。シーリングワックスあったんだ。これ何の紋章だろう。嫁さんにきっと似合いますな。本当に本当にアレンこんなんなん？まあでも星はそうか。なんか変な感じするな。こういうのです。4万するんだ。っていうさ、やつあって、万日数量限定だから、秒でなくなったっていうのが、記憶に新しいですね。メルカリで売ってるやついるってマジ？売ってるわ。怖っ。はい、というね。ガラスペン私もね、なんか1、2本持ってんだけど、1本か。なんかね、カリカリ音が鳴ってちょっと楽しいんよね。言うほどそんなね、あれだから、あれなんだけど、全然出てこなかった。なんかでも私ね、あんまり紙にペン先引っかかんない方がいいんだけど、万年筆じゃない、ガラスペンって引っかかるやつ多いからね、ちょっとね、辛い気持ちもあんだよね。ちゃんと高いやつ買ったらもうちょっとなんか、好みに合うやつあるんだろうなとは思いつつも、ちょっとあんまり手が出せてない。あと万年筆1本ぐらいは高いやつ欲しいよね。なんかちゃんとしたさ、ショーケースに並んでるようなやつ。ちょっと憧れはある。いつか欲しい。自分に合うやつ探してみてさ。ということで、ぼちぼちやってこうかな。いいぐらいの時間だし。今日もね、時間かかるだろうね。多分調べながら。今日5まで行きたいんだけど、昨日とボリューム同じぐらいだから、まあ1時間ちょっとぐらいかなと思います。いや、昨日よりちょっと多いか、これ。まあ同じぐらいか。ということで、何かしらの朝活をね、お前たちもやっていこうな。何やろうね、なんかね。だって、私これ終わったら、お昼ご飯を調達しに行くから。お昼ご飯何食べるか考えとこう。はい。じゃあやっていくよ。The Phantom of the Opera、Chapter 3 The Rule Book During this time,ちょっとこれ昨日やった気がするな。リタイニングか。多分その系統だと思うんだけど、これ。リタインだと思う。おそらく。リタイアリング。むずい。なんかねこれシートにしたことによって昨日前回何やったのか分かるようになったからちょっといい感じになった。もうちょっと早く考えついてよかったな。反省。The retiring managers Mr. デビーン。名前をさ、一生覚えられないんだって。ドビーンのとポリニーね。 Mr. Debian and Mr. Polinin were talking and laughing with their party guests. Sorry, and the dancers had made it to the foyer de ballet, where Sorari was about to make her speech. Nobody at the party yet knew about Joseph Bucket's death except for the ballet girls. However, just as Sorari had put on her famous smile, lifted her wine glass, and started to speak, her speech was cut short by little Jem. The opera ghost cried out Jem. She pointed towards the back of the crowd, but by the time the guests turned around to see who was there, the ghost had slipped away. He was gone. The guests started laughing, believing it was a joke. The opera ghost, they said as they pointed to their friends. Sorari, of course, was angry. She did not get to finish her speech, but the returning managers thanked her and kissed her. They hurried up the stairs. ステアでいいよね、これ階段よね。よね。ステアでいいよね。よいしょ。ステア、あれどこだ？ Hurry up. Then hurried up the stairs to the foyer of the singers. The singers and musicians were gathered there to make a speech for the managers also. After this was done, finally, on the third floor, the managers met their own guests and friends, who were gathered to make their speech and to have dinner together. It was there, on the third floor, that the old managers met the new managers. Mr. Moncharman and Mr. Richard. これリチャードでしょこれ絶対。はい。Mr. Moncharman and Mr. Richard. They greeted the man who were to talk over the opera the next day. The crowd around them settled. セットリストの話してる。セドル。ああ、そういうこと？なんかこれ前もやった気がするな。セドル。合ってんの？合ってない気がする。まあいいや。 落ち着いたね。The crowd around them settled into talk and laughter. It was during their presence, a moment when a few people began to notice a very ugly man sitting at the dinner table by himself. Stairway to Heaven. 天国への階段ってこと？タイトルの分詞ですね。本。本。だって分かってない。ありがとう。分かってる。なるほどね。The man had deep-set eyes, so deep that they looked like a black hole in his head. In his head, his dress clothes hung on him as tough he was as skeleton. He was terrible to look at, but most people simply turned away and politely said nothing. So it was the opera ghost himself who spoke first. The death of Joseph Bucket is perhaps not a natural death, he said. All talk in the room stopped. Is Bucket dead? The old manager cried out. Yes, said the ghost. He was found hanging in the third-floor cellar between a set piece and seats from the Roy de Lahore.ロイドラホールかな。なんでびっくりした今。From the Lloyd Lahore, the managers turned white. They asked the new managers to join them in the manager's office. Once they had closed the door behind them, they asked the two new managers to sit, for they had a secret to tell them. Do you know who that man sitting at the table is? By Polini. Mr. Polini asked Mr. Moncharmin and Mr. Richard. リチャードでいいか。英語読みで。Mr. Moncharmin and Mr. Richard, the new managers said no. That is the opera ghost, said Mr. Polini. He has ordered us to ask you, as the new managers, to give him anything he wants. The new managers looked at each other and began. なんだこれ。laughing かな。What kind of joke is this? Asked Mr. Richard, but the old manager just stared at him, their face like stone. This is not joke, said Mr. Porny. Every time we do something that the ghost doesn't like, something terrible happened at the opera. The death of Joseph Bouquet is the latest example. Well, what does the ghost want from us? Asked Mr. Richard. He tried to hide his smile, but he failed. My pony went to his desk and pulled out the rule book, which has been given to every manager since the start of the opera. The book stated that the manager of the opera would lose his job if he did not follow the rule. The rules were listened from the through four. 普通にわかんねえや。あ、4つ。4か。あ、4。4まで合ってる。あ、違います。どこだ？through four. At the end, a fifth rule has been written into the book by hand, in red ink, in very strange shade-like writing. It reads. じゃあ writing it reads. 5. If the manager is late in paying the opera ghost the amount of 20,000 francs a month, 20,000 francs a month, or a total for 240,000 francs a year. 40,000 francs a year. The manager shall be made to leave the opera. This was written by the ghost. You see, said Mr. Devienne. Is this all? Asked Mr. Richard, who still believed this was all a very fine joke. Doesn't he want anything else? Yes, replied Mr. Porny. He turned a fair page in the rulebook and came to the part that listened the day in which certain private boxes must be made free for the present. The ministers マニスタなんだこれ大臣ミニスターだってるのかどこだ毎回どっか行く。The ministers and so on. Here again, a line had been added in red ink. Book 5 on the top level shall be saved for the use of the opera ghost for every performance. At this, the two new managers looked at each other and laughed out loud again. Very good, Sir, very good, they said, rising from their chairs. Shook the returning manager's hands and left the room laughing. I see that we Fran and Fran. I see that we Frans are still excellent at creating joke, said Mr. Moncharmin. The two enjoyed the rest of the party without another thought about the opera cost. Chapter 4, Book 5. Mr. Richard and Mr. Moncharmin enjoyed the first fair day of being two new managers of the opera. They were very excited about working for such a famous institution. なんかさ、見た覚えある。institution。意味調べとくか。死ぬほど T が並んでて、キモってなった記憶ある、これ。機関ね、インスティテューション。They forget all about what the old managers had told them about the rulebook and the ghost. Then once morning, they received a letter that proved that the joke, if it was indeed a joke, was not over. The letter was written in the some red ink and childlike, writing as the lines added to the rulebook. The letter reads. childlike ってどういう意味だよな。子供のような子。ああ、まあそうか。like ってなんとかのような話だから。なるほどね。Dear Mr. Manager, I'm sorry to trouble you during this busy time. However, I had to bring to your attention something very important. I have found on a few occasions that my private box at the opera was filled by somebody else. I wrote to the old manager, Mr. Debian and Mr. Polny, to ask them to please explain. They replied by saying they had shown you the rulebook and told you about my demands. So, I must ask... なんかね、フォント変わってるから余計読みにくい。assume soon 仮定する。I must assume that you are cherishing not to respect my wishes. Let me be clear. If you value your own safety, you must not take away my private box. I wish to see Christine Dyer performance. And if I cannot do this from box 5, you and as a member of the opera will pay dearly. Your なんだこれ。合ってるこれ。truly か。はいはい。わかりづら。You are truly a brag ghost. When they were finished reading, the manager looked at each other. This joke seemed to be going too far. They decided to call in the bookkeeper of their office to ask exactly that she knew about box 5. Mr. Gilly, Mrs. Gilly, the mother of the little dancer, Meg Gilly, soon came to the office. She was an older lady with gray hair and an old black dress. Who may I help you, sir? She asked. Mrs. Gilly, you are the bookkeeper, are you not? You know all the guests who own private boxes? Yes, sir. Well, tell us about the ghost who own box 5. Mrs. Gilly suddenly looked worried and didn't say anything. Well, that have you to say? Mr. Richard demanded. I don't like to talk about box 5, sir. Why not? Because it's not good luck, sir. The owner of that box is the opera ghost. That. What I thought, said Mr. Richard. And who is this ghost exactly? Why, I've never seen him, but I hear him. He thanked me when I put his program in the box. How is it that you don't see him but you do hear him? Well, he's a ghost, sir. Mr. Richard was getting angry. Isn't there anything you can tell us that is for some use? He cried out. Mrs. Jerry didn't like being talked to in this way. She stood up tailor and put her nose in the air. I believe I've answered your question to the best of my ability, sir, she said. Mr. Mosherman stopped it quickly. Dear Mrs. Gilly, he said, don't mind Mr. Richard. He does not know how to speak to a lady. Here he say an angry look at Mr. Richard. Please, if there is anything else you know about the ghost who own box 5, be so good as to tell us. Mr. Gilly seemed to soften a bit. Well, I can tell you that the ghost likes to cause trouble when he doesn't get what he wants. For example, one night, when Mr. Polini and Mr. Mr. Dobien were still quite new. They made the mistake of putting their ghost in box wide. It was Mr. and Mrs. Manila? 誰？新しい名前出てきたけど。持ってないの？Mariela? You know, they own that jewelry store in the center of town. And their friend, Mr. Ishidoro, is shocked. 名前がわからん。When the show started, there was a great love scene. While the actors on stage were kissing, a voice whispered in Mr. Maniera's ear. Here, haha, Joel, wouldn't mind giving a kiss to Ishidoro. Mr. Maniera turned to his wife, Joel, and he said that Mr. Sak was kissing her hand. While the two men started fighting, as Mr. Sak ran away, he fell down the grand staircase and broke his leg. It will be a long time before they can walk up those stairs again. I'm sure. There was a quiet moment as the managers thought about this story. You have been very helpful, Mr. Giri, said Mr. Mon Sharma. Thank you very much for your time. You're free to go. When Mr. Giri had left the room, the two managers turned to ask each other. I am not at all impressed, said Mr. Richard family. 違う。ファミリーか。あれ、ちょっと待って。見逃した。Richard family. If we go to other day. That story doesn't prove anything about any ghost. Quite right, said Mr. Monsharman. And let's forget about this ghost. He is nothing but an old weave's tale. With that, the managers went about their business. Chapter 5 In Peril. なんだこれ。スペイン語嘘おい、話変わってきたぞ本当に犬かゲーム巻き舌だったの今びっくりしたんだけど In Paris 私巻き舌できないんよね やり方がわかんない。Meanwhile, Christine Daae did not give any more wonderful performance at the opera. She went back to begin good but not great. She even turned down a fair offer to perform at parties and shows. People tried to guess why she hides it from attention. I believe the reason was far. Christine was afraid of her own excellence. 読めんかった。And she was afraid of that had happened to her that evening that she performed as Margaret. She did not go out and she didn't reply to any of the Laura's letter until one morning she wrote him this note. Dear Sir, I have not forget the little boy who went into the sea to save my scarf. I felt I had to write to you today. Before I go to Herod. Tomorrow is the anniversary of my father's death. You knew my father, and he liked you very much. He is bright in fellow with his violin. By the little church. It is at the bottom of the hill where we used to play as children. The same place we said goodbye for the last time. フェローってもしかして地名の話してる？これ犬じゃなくて。After reading this letter, Laura quotes quote? Laura quote.カートナッチの話か。あー違う。はいはいはい。なるほどね。ああ、多いわよ。これさ、あれできないのかな。フィルしてほしいんだけど。してくれない。うまくいかないな。Lard counts the first train to Pearls. As he travels, he remembered the story of the little Swedish singer and their father. There was once a poor man named Dai who had a little daughter, Christine. They lived in Sweden. 違う、これスウェーデンの地名か、多分。これどこ？スウェーおいスウェーデン。愚かでした。 They lived in Sweden until Diet's wife passed away. Christine was still very young at the time, with no money or land. Diet brought Christine to the seaside town of Paris, France, for a chance at the better life. Many people believe Diet was the best violin player in all the France. Some believed in all the world. His daughter also had the voice of an angel, and the two would stand together on the street and perform some of the most beautiful music anyone had ever heard. One summer, a little boy who was to grow up to become the Viscount of Viscount Chani. He came to Paul's Paris with his aunt. This boy was, of course, Laure. For young Laure, it was love at first sight. He followed Christine and her father to the sea, where they went walking. One afternoon, the wind was strong that day that blew Christine's staff into the sea. "Don't worry, miss," said Laure. "I'll get your scarf for you." He ran straight into the sea. When he returned the scarf to Christine, she was so happy that she kissed him. His aunt, meanwhile, was not very happy. From that day, Christine and Laure were great friends. They spent many hours playing together and listening to Diet's stories. Their favorite story was about the angel of music. Whoever the angel of music visited on Earth would become a musical genius. Diet told Christine that he would send her the angel of music someday, once he had died and gone to heaven. Finally, when Laure had to leave for Paris, he and Christine said goodbye at the bottom of the hill where they often played. "I should never forget you," Laure said. Christine had tears in her eyes as he walked away. Laure, too, felt like crying, for he knew that a poor girl like Christine could never be the wife of the Viscount of Chani. As the years passed, Christine often thought of Laure and continued to think. However, when her father died, she seemed to lose her voice. She sang well enough to get into music school, where she did not shine but did well enough to become a part of the Paris Opera. Laure knew this and had come to see her perform when he returned to Paris. However, he was surprised to find that she did not sing as well as she once did. In fact, this here Father's Day. Nobody had to turn quality of her voice until the night she sang of Margaret. That night, it was as if she was Christine Day again, a girl with a voice that could make angel cry. Suddenly, that train come to a stop. Loud had arrived in Perot. He asked the workers at the station if they had seen a Parisian woman with long golden hair. They told him that they saw a woman with hair like that go to the setting sun in that day. Lau hurried there. Lau opened the door of the setting sun to find Christine sitting there. She was smiling and waiting for him. "Hello, my old friend," she said. ちょっと待って。よいしょ。Hello, my old friend, she said. "I'm glad to see you here. Christine, finally you speak to me," said Raul. He rushed towards her and took her hands. Then his feelings spoke over the loud spoke angrily. "Why did you not reply to any of my letter? Why did you not recognize me before? Haven't you ever seen me at the opera? I even followed you to your room several times, but you act like you never see me." Christine turned red. "Yes, I had seen you," she said. "Why did you never spoke to me? Don't you know that I love you? Please, didn't be foolish," said Christine, turning away. "You can't love a poor opera girl like me. Do you love someone else?" demanded Raul. I heard a man's voice in your room that night. That night you fainted," he said. Suddenly, Christine looked at him with fear. "Whose voice?" she demanded. "The man who said, 'You must love me, Christine.' Then you said you had given your soul to him." He replied, "Your soul is a beautiful thing." Christine put her hand over her heart. She sat down and was still for a long time. Finally, she looked at Raul. I have a secret," she said. "Do you remember my father telling me that the witch sent me the angel music after he died? Well, he has died, and he has sent him to me." "What do you mean?" That voice you heard in my room that night, it's him. The angel music come to me in my dressing room every day. I never see him, but I can hear him. I didn't know anyone else could hear him, but you heard him too. If you are joking, stop this. I don't like it, said Rob. I'm telling the truth, love, said Christine. The angel music teaches me how to sing. And he says I will become the greatest singer in the world. わあ。ということで、ちょうど5まで読み終わりました。わあ、6つ。ケイチさんおはよう。Good morning 今来たもしかして。いやー、なんかペロスもしかしてさ、地名だよな、これ多分。ああ。今日は昨日よりは読めた気がする。11。割とサクサクいけたはず。ちょっとなんか詰まっちゃったりしたけど。ああ、むずいよ。チャプター3から。授業にはギリギリセーフでした。まあ、読み終わる前だったからギリギリセーフかな。授業ではない。いやー、まあね、顔出しに来てくれて私は嬉しいよ。割となんかね、読めるところは読めるようになってきたし、なんか単語もちょっと時間かかっちゃうけど、何かを認識することはできるようになってきたので、今度は EX の単語がちょっと辛くなってきたので、そこは頑張っていきたい。なんだっけ、example とか、なんだっけ、excited と、なんだっけ、ジョジョのさ、その通りでございますね。exactly か。とかね、なんか読み分けがね、全然できないから、ちょっとそのあたりは頑張っていきたいね。ああ。ということで、もう、3分の1は読み終わっていて、半分近くまで来たわけです。あ、3分の1ぐらいか。14だと。だからこの感じだとあと2週間あったら全然余裕で読み終わるので、2週間じゃないね。あとなんか、2日でチャプター5まで読んだので、そうね、あと2週間あったら読み終わる。あと4日で読み終わるぐらいの肌感。意外とプラダ短いからね。なんだったら、ちょっとさすがにオズの魔法使いをもう最初から読むと長いから、ちょっと考えるんだけど、レベル2ぐらいのやつを2週ぐらいしたいよね。一気にレベル上げすぎたなっていう感じがするから。またこのラダーシリーズの本もね、上達しとかないといけないと思うので、また見てきます。もうペラザの怪人これぐらいのボリュームだったら全然2週目やってもいっちゃいいんだけど。あとね、私、レベル4のもう一個レベル上のレミゼもちょっとやりたいので、まあ近いうちにそれも上達しときたいな。いやなんかね、読んだ方が覚えるなっていうのとなんかね、私はこのやり方が向いてるなと。思いました。首。なんかね、意味は分かんなくてもニュアンスでなんとなく感じ取ってはいて、でも レベル4ぐらいになるとニュアンスでも感じ取りにくいところ全然あるから、単語もね、ぼちぼち覚えていかなきゃいけないね。この書き連ねてるやつ以外にも分かってないやつとか全然あるから。読めはするけど意味分かってないやつとか全然あるし。頑張っていきましょう。だって、こんなところで、あくびもすごいし、お腹も空いたし、終わっていこうかな。だって、じゃあみんなもね、良い午後をお過ごしくださいね。今日の配信は多分誰かやんのかな？多分ないかな。まあ、Twitter の、まあおそらくここにいる人はしてくれているけど、Twitter のフォローとね。なんだ？ Twitter のフォローと高評価とチャンネル登録をぜひともよろしくお願いします。励みになります。はい。じゃあそんな感じでね、今日は朝活こんなところで終わっていきます。Thank you for watching streaming. なんだ？毎回わかんないこれ。昨日言ってなかったしね。Please your subscribe and good ボタン。合ってんのかわかんねえ。まあいいや。Have a nice day. See you. Bye bye.